Oh, well, here we go again. This could be it for Dave Roberts.
We'll see. We still have a lot of baseball to play. Only
Yeah.
one
Well,
books.
keep an eye on Ross because he's probably watching the TV. See if you can pick it up in the reflection on his glasses. Ross, are you a Dodger fan?
I am more of a hockey fan than anything, so I follow the Kings and a couple other teams. I always root for the home team, though.
Hockey fan. Wow.
All right. Well, it looks like we've got our quorum. So I figure we can go ahead and get started with a special meeting of the Community Services District. I'm going to call the meeting to order. I'd like to announce the meeting is being recorded and we do a roll call.
Oh, Director Brent.
Here.
Director Geis. Director Bertrand.
Here.
Director Freeman.
Here.
Director Thurlow.
Here.
Everyone else is not here.
All right. Before we begin, we'd like to acknowledge the Chumash people who are the traditional custodians of this land. We pay our respects to the Chumash elders, past, present, and future, who call this place Anaskoyo, the land that Isla Vista sits upon, their home. We are proud to continue their tradition of coming together and growing as a community. We thank the Chumash community for their stewardship and support, and we look forward to strengthening our ties, continue our relationship with respect and understanding. Okay, public comment. For items that are not on the agenda, I will mention for those that are here that we're going to have our regular scheduled for 6 p.m. tonight. So I would ask if you do have general public comment to hold it till then. But if anyone has anything that can't wait, now's your time. Okay, I'm going to close public comment, and the only item on our special meeting agenda, just thought it was very timely and needed to be spoken about after the events of this past weekend, is the district COVID-19 response. I think I'll just hand it over to Jonathan if you have any opening remarks you'd like to make about our efforts.
Yeah, I can talk about some of the new efforts since the last board meeting. The document, for anyone who's following, I can put it in the chat, but it includes a document that has all of our efforts since March categorized in there. But in terms of since the last meeting, well, the big thing that we're doing and working on it's its own thing, is this virtual event for Halloween, which is a form of helping people stay inside and getting information out about COVID safety. So we're still waiting. I haven't heard back from Lucidity. I've heard back from them on a million things the last day or two, but haven't heard back on if the 2 outreach coordinators have been hired yet. But we've been doing a lot of promotion of those 2 jobs. So once they're hired, they're actually going to do a lot of work promoting the event and promoting safe COVID-19 behavior in the community. So hoping that's it's going to start very soon. Expected day was yesterday, but with maybe they got a lot of applications and they're shifting through. But I personally heard a lot of interest in the positions. So that's one thing that's launching. Another thing that's almost done, and also I'm kind of glad we waited since we now have the best information, is the door hanger that we've been working on. It's going to go to print by Friday, but now we have the times and link to get tested in Isla Vista and the Goleta Valley Community Center, which is pretty new information. And it's going to have one side dedicated to the Halloween event and staying home that weekend. So that's getting done pretty soon and will be distributed early next week to every household in Isla Vista. And one hiccup we're having, but we're going to have very good progress on this soon, is our ads that we had, our social media ads, are paused right now because my credit limit has been reached on my personal credit card. So I need to pay that pretty soon, and then we'll be able to get our ads launched again. The good news is our audit's almost done. So once our third audit's done, we can then get a district credit card and never have this problem again. But problem we're in today. And then the last thing is we've been meeting with the county and working with them to figure out the job description and training for their ambassadors that would be in Isla Vista. So we've been just consulting and helping them get a good job description done. And it's kind of, well, it's actually not, I'm using the word ambassador wrong, and I'm going to correct myself. It's not exactly an ambassador. They're still going to have the RISE ambassadors, which are its own thing. And then these are peer-to-peer outreach volunteers who would be kind of like mentored by an ambassador. But we really recommended that they try to get funding to pay these people, just because that might just be really more effective than trying to get volunteers to do that kind of COVID outreach work. So that's what us and AS suggested when it was brought up, but it's being worked on. And we're helping consult, and we're going to help do the training. We're not running it, but we're going to help, talk to the new people about what it's like, what it's been like in Isla Vista, and what some of the challenges and opportunities we see. And that's it since the last 3 weeks. If anyone has questions for us, that's on our end. And I see Kirsten just put in the chat that there's more testing days than IV. I didn't catch the board meeting yet today, but that's even better. We'll get those on our door hanger.
Great, thank you for that summary, Jonathan. I think myself, like many of you, has been very concerned about the situation given the events of this past weekend. I think there was some reporting done that I think we've all probably had a chance to look at, of the crowds of folks that were out on Friday night, and the documentation of some gatherings that were happening without social and physical distancing, without masks, and it's definitely concerning to see. And I think overall it just really punctuates that we need to move quickly on this. We need to make sure that we are really setting the tone in advance of the Halloween weekend, because COVID-19 is still here in our community and it is spreading. Earlier today, I think we learned that 20 to 29-year-olds are the largest demographic in terms of where COVID is being spread and transmitted in our county right now. And that is definitely very concerning. And I think one thing that I would share in the wake of this past weekend is that I think there is redoubled efforts going on right now to try to reach out to some of our property owners to try and make sure that they are engaged and informing their residents of their obligations to follow the public health order and taking appropriate action when that is not happening. I think it's a really important piece of the puzzle. And we saw a lot of success with that, I think, early on when we first started to see large gatherings appearing in Isla Vista. And I'm hopeful that that approach, as it continues, we redouble on it, can yield some more compliance that way. And I really hope that all of our property owner partners can be engaged in that effort to let their residents know that it's not just about us here in Isla Vista, it's about our entire county. It's about keeping our friends and neighbors safe, but it's also about making sure that Isla Vista does not take our county backwards. And so that's what I would add to that. Are there any other comments or questions from the board? I see a hand from Ethan.
Yes, thank you, Spencer. I agree with a lot of what you said. I was especially concerned this morning when I saw that graphic that showed that people 20 to 29 in Santa Barbara County were the highest demographic group of COVID cases. And I think that really emphasizes what we want all of our community members to know, which is that COVID is not a disease that just affects older people. It can affect any of us, and all of us can spread the virus unknowingly to people who could really suffer from this. So I definitely hope that this really emphasizes the need for our residents to continue to take precautions. As of today, there are 255 confirmed cases in Isla Vista throughout this season of COVID-19, and it is very concerning. As was mentioned before, we did have testing here in Isla Vista on Friday. The results there were pretty good. About 86 people came out, and of those tests, only 2 were positive. So that's consistent with our countywide testing positivity rate, perhaps even a little lower. So that's good. We definitely need to continue to see those high numbers of participation when testing is offered. I'm happy to report I got a test over the weekend and it was very easy. It's sometimes complicated to sign up for the testing site on the state's platform, but I encourage residents to take your time with it and go through it, because once you get the information done, you'll be able to easily schedule your appointments. They do a great job of getting you in and out quickly and making it as comfortable as possible, even though it can be an uncomfortable test. But I definitely encourage our community members to continue to get tested. And I really echo your comment, Spencer, about property owners needing to continue to work hard on this. Some of these gatherings that we're seeing that are very unhealthy and that we're concerned about are happening at the same houses or happening at properties that are owned by specific companies. And we really do need them to show corporate responsibility and look out for the health of our community and the health of their tenants.
Thank you for that, Ethan. Are there any other comments from members of the board? Okay. I would also add one other element of this is that one of the things that I think has been noticed by me over the past week or so is that we have another way that I think we should pursue collectively to try and limit these gatherings. And that is that oftentimes these gatherings are hosted by organizations that are affiliated or connected with one of our universities or colleges. And I think that it's really important that we start to think about at an institutional level for UCSB and Santa Barbara City College, that if there are organizations that are flaunting public health guidelines, that they start to receive some sort of sanctions. I think especially for those that are repeat offenders, it's really important that we send a clear message that we are all in this together and that violating the public health order is not permissible right now. And so I really hope that that's something that we're thinking about, as well as one of the tools in the toolbox we can use to try and cut down on the number of gatherings that we are seeing.
I definitely agree with that. And I'll also mention, Jonathan, thank you for the update on Lucidity. I'm still super excited that we're doing that. Keep us posted on how we can help if anything's coming up. And I know all of us really need to be ambassadors for this event, being that it's the first time. I saw that NewsHawk published our press release earlier. I'm sure other outlets will as well. But it's exciting to see us getting the word out. And I'm especially excited for the education component that will go to all residents, regardless of whether they come to the event or not.
I agree. And I know they're not on the line, but I want to commend Lucidity, because I think they've really hit the ground running. Jonathan, can you share what's the theme that they came up with? Is it Halloween at Home?
That's the name of the event, but that's not its almost final name. So the official announcement's on Friday. But Halloween at Home Isla Vista is most likely going to be the name. Something like that.
Okay, you didn't hear it from me then, folks. But I really love the direction that they're taking. I think it's a really clear message that now is the time for us to continue to, well, redouble our efforts and stay home during Halloween weekend.
Spencer,
Okay,
if I
so
could ask
all
a question. I see
Yep.
that we have Lieutenant Camarena and Deputy Schroeder on the line, and I'm wondering if either of them have any insights to provide us from what their deputies saw this past weekend.
I was going to let the lieutenant take it, but I can answer. We saw a slight uptick in activity. There's certainly a handful of parties that were larger than we've seen recently, but we talked today to the deputies who worked and with each other, and although it was slightly busier, I think it got blown out of proportion a little bit. It wasn't like crazy busy, if that makes sense. So any uptick in activity is obviously not a good thing, but I also didn't feel like it was completely out of control, if that makes any sense.
Thank you.
Thank you for that, Justin. Okay, are there any, I'm going to open up public comment. Any public comments on COVID safety in Isla Vista?
I'm sorry. I'm Louisa. I had a question regarding the recent parties in Isla Vista. What measures have been taken place by the police department to help them go down, or what is being said to the people? And also I was wondering if you wanted to know of an Instagram that's available, that's open to the public, that's run by students, that just has videos of students that are in parties. It's called Isla Vista Parties, and people are allowed to just send in videos that they get around. I hope that that helps.
Thank you, Louisa. I got sent that link to that Instagram, and I shared it with the county and the university folks who take in the complaint forms. There's 2 complaint forms that are we had ads for that both organizations have on parties. So we shared that with them, so they'll be getting them direct to hopefully essentially as a complaint when they see those.
And maybe Justin or Juan, you want to speak to the first question that Louisa had about what measures y'all are taking?
Yeah, we're definitely, we respond to every complaint that we get regarding COVID violations or large gatherings. And right now what we do is kind of basically what the ambassadors will do, which is more education. We inform them what the public health order is, what they're doing to be in violation of it, and then we document that and send it to the county. We have not been issuing citations or making arrests on the scene, but that's what we're doing, is documenting it and then sending it to UCSB, Santa Barbara City College, and the county for follow-up. I can't speak to exactly what each of those organizations is doing to follow up, but that's what we're doing. I don't know if it's decreasing the parties. I've been out there working every weekend, and generally it feels like what I'm telling the people throwing the parties is falling on deaf ears, because it's not like they shut down right away every time, but we're doing our best to get out there and keep them educated about the situation.
Thank you for that, Justin. Appreciate that update. Are there any other public comments on this item? Okay, I'm going to close public comment and bring it back to the board for any other questions or comments from the board.
I guess one more question I have is, Jonathan, if you could just give us a brief update on what our homelessness efforts for COVID response are looking like. Are we still doing the food provision and resource center on weekdays for our homeless neighbors?
Yes, so the food funding ran out. The board voted to allocate for 2 months. So that ran out. The board can still vote to allocate more at this point. The coordinated entry is still going on. And a lot's happening there. Christina Leidick is now, working part-time, running the thing. And for example, there's going to be a flu shot clinic on the 21st, hosted in at the same time as our coordinated entry. So they're active, they're working. I'm there sometimes when they're open, and it's pretty, they have people coming in and out still. So there's no meals, but there's a lot of other services that people are still coming in. They're getting computer help. It's in the community room right now because we thought the center would be testing, but it didn't become testing. But they're gonna be moving back to the center until it's the election, when it's not. They're gonna move out again. So we're dealing with just that of space, and that's an issue for them because people would like more consistent access, but it's being worked out since they're right next to each other. And one of the other things that's the task force that we're a part of, one of the things we've heard about is that there's the county has put out a letter of interest to set up a legalized encampment essentially, and so that's really going to be a big focus of the efforts before the end of the year, in the next month and a half. So our efforts, I don't know where our efforts are going to fit in that yet because this is just so new. So we have the next 2 months until like December 1st, but then the status quo is going to change significantly.
Got it. Well, keep us posted on what we can do. What I'm hearing is that the service center is still happening. Food's not happening right now, but if there seems that there's a need for that, just let us know and we can talk about resuming that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they would like to have the food. I haven't heard directly from them saying like we need to have it, because I think since more restaurants are open, there's some easier access right now than there was in May. So I'm sure they'd welcome it, but it's the funding did dry up. We can wait till the next meeting to consider it, or we are technically agendized to do something today, but I don't have an exact, they haven't given me a proposal that they want to get more funding for food. So
Sure. So maybe if you just bring that back next time and let us know what to do.
cool. I'll ask.
So Jonathan, can I just say, if we're going to continue a food program for our houseless community, I would like to see us expand it to include our families that are foods that are having struggles getting food. I'd like to expand it to students who are having trouble getting food. I think there are all these people that are really having struggles right now, and just focusing on one small group seems like it's not only not fair, but it doesn't seem right.
Yeah, well, I will share that we got a request from the St. George Youth Center to fund their food distribution day as well.
So I mean, I'll just say I would support, if we're going to start a food program for the houseless, that we consider an equitable program that also feeds our other constituents that are hungry.
That's a great point, George. And I think there's room for collaboration with organizations like the Food Bank. I know right now they are operating a lot of emergency feeding sites throughout the county that are FEMA reimbursable because of the pandemic. And I'm not sure which sites are being utilized by Isla Vista residents. And knowing the needs of our community, there probably could be benefit from having a site in Isla Vista. And I think that would be a great first step for us to look into.
That's a good one to work on between.
So maybe the item we bring back is just a food distribution item in general.
Yeah, I'll try to get together as much of a proposal, maybe a part 1 and a part 2 of what we can get started right away and what we can work on more of what we can do.
All right. Thank you for that, Jonathan. And Jay, I think you might have been patiently awaiting. You're good? Okay. Any other comments from the board? Okay, then with that, we will reconsider this item again at our next, not this regular meeting that's about to start, but at the one after that on the 27th. So I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the special meeting and go into our regular meeting.
So
Move
moved.
to adjourn. I will
Second.
second.
I'll second.
Okay, George emphatically seconds, Jay emphatically first. Is there any public comment? Any more discussion? All right, Jonathan, can you call the roll?
Director Brandt,
Yes.
Bertrand,
Yes.
Freeman,
Yes.
Hedges,
Yes.
Nguyen, and Derlo.
Yes.
Motion passes, and we will, well, once it's 6 o'clock, we will convene our regular meeting.